Donovan Mitchell looked great after a long layoff, leading the Utah Jazz with 25 points. And the Western Conference's #1 seed looked more like themselves with Mitchell in the lineup, putting up 141 and taking care of the Grizzlies by a dozen to tie up their 1-8 series in the West at a game apiece. Welcome in, everybody. Game time here on the air with post-game coverage of Utah's win. Matt Weiner, the Hall of Famer Kevin McHale, NBA champion, Jason Terry right over there. And Utah, led the league in wins by doing it on both ends. They really did it more on one end tonight. Offensively, they were a juggernaut, and Memphis played really well and kept at them. They kept clawing back to get back in the game, but couldn't get enough stops to make this close in the end.
Yeah, Utah kept Memphis on their heels all night long, but the three ball. I mean, Memphis can't make enough twos to keep up with 19 three-point field goals made tonight by the Jazz. They led the league in it, and that's their identity. They want to shoot the long ball, and a lot of it has to do when Conley and Mitchell are in the pick and roll with Gobert. Gobert is such a deadly rim runner. He gets to the rim with the best of them. He can finish with lobs. But their guards are just so aggressive. Donovan Mitchell being out 5 weeks, give him tons of credit. He didn't look out of rhythm at all. He shot 5 for 10 from the three, and he got downhill, and he attacked, and he looked dynamic and aggressive. So he's going to be a force to deal with. But Conley's just as good in that pick and roll. I mean, he does it all. He can finish with floaters, but he also finds Gobert on those late rolls, lobs to the rim.
Yeah, no question. I thought that Mitchell looked great. 26 minutes, unbelievably efficient. Just didn't look like he'd been out for 17 games. Right. But that mid-screen and roll is killing him. I know they shot a lot of threes. They made threes. But that mid-screen and roll game, just that late pass to Gobert was a killer. I think that Memphis has got to change it up. They're pushing him over the top of the screen, as you see again, Mitchell here just going to work on everybody out there. And he started out. That's when you're feeling good about it. You rise up and you shoot that shot coming out there. But anyways, getting back to the pick and roll, I think they've got to take them away from the pick and roll so that Gobert can't roll behind it and the big can drop. Because you don't care if Rudy Gobert shoots jump shots, and the big can absorb that guard and just stay on his hip and bring him down. I think when he goes over, there's just too much traffic, and the big is getting caught too far away, and Rudy's just rolling behind him. That killed him. So they got to make an adjustment there, I think.
Well, and just the fact that Rudy Gobert could play regular minutes tonight is a huge bonus for Utah. Yeah. Remember, he fouled out for the first time all season in Game 1. Tonight he played 36 minutes and a very typical Rudy Gobert kind of game. 9 of 11 from the field, and he shoots nearly that percentage anyway. He winds up with 21 and 13, had 4 blocks, so he was a force on the interior, really on both ends of the floor.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, you do shoot 9 for 11 when every shot your elbows are in the rim. So that's a high percentage shot. He dunks every one of his shots is damn near a dunk. But he got those kind of soul crushing rolls late with those passes. They've got to stop that because you come back and you battle if you're Memphis, and he just you just can't afford to give up layups. And he played very, very well. And of course, he's always going to block shots for you to protect the paint. Yeah. But again, if Memphis can clean that up, it's going to be an interesting series because Memphis is not afraid of this Utah team.
No, they're not afraid at all. They're young. They're dangerous. They play with tons of energy and grit and toughness. They just got to, like you said, if they can figure out a pick and roll coverage that doesn't give up those easy dunks to Gobert, then I think they can contest those threes that they're giving up as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, because, Jed, if you kind of push them away from the screen, then two guys can kind of handle, I'm the big and you're playing defense. You and I can handle. You don't need everybody filling in, which allows all those threes. It's just you and I are going to take them. And as a big guy, Valanciunas is got a good feel. You've got to play both. You just got to keep giving ground, but nobody gets behind you. Like Rudy Gobert is not behind you when you do that. You just do a drop defense. And the thing that hurts you on that is if you got a big that can shoot it. But Gobert's not shooting any of that stuff. So they've got to look at some things to change up, and that's one thing that I would do.
It'll be interesting seeing Game 3 if Valanciunas can stay on the floor this time because we had Gobert in foul trouble in Game 1. Valanciunas only played 7 minutes in the first half of Game 2. We're like 2-3 minutes into this postgame. We haven't even mentioned Ja Morant, who set a franchise record for postseason scoring tonight with 47 and is now second only to the great George Mikan. You're a native Minnesotan. That's a name that means something to you. The great George Mikan who had 75 in his first 2 playoff games. Ja is at 73 for his first 2 playoff games. Wow. And really the personification of this group, he is utterly fearless. Yeah. He got blocked by Gobert on a dunk attempt in the first half of this game, but just the mere fact that he was willing to go after him tells you everything you need to know about this young Memphis team.
You got to love the way he plays the game with such a spirit about himself, such a confidence, and he feeds his confidence into his other teammates. But when he went up on Gobert, right when he blocked it, he kind of laughed and smiled and told him, look, I'm coming back. And he came back.
I love the fact that he got a smile out of it. Okay, now, good play, big fella. I brought you my best stuff. You caught it, but let's see if you can do it again. Yeah. I loved looking at that kid's attitude on that when he got a shot blocked. But, boy, he is a fearless young man.
No, he puts so much pressure on your defense because he's constantly on the attack. Yeah. You said he has this nice little slide move to avoid contact. He can finish with both hands. He'll go up on top of you. And then tonight, 20 free throws. I mean, that's a lot of free throws. That in itself gives you confidence and allows you to get in a good rhythm. He was in a great rhythm tonight, and he still dished it off, too.
No question. Yeah, Jet was talking about that slide move. When you're a big guy and you get a guy that can jump and then cover 4, 5, 6 feet kind of sideways, they're so hard to cover because you're jumping, expecting him here. Next thing you know, he just kind of glides by you. It's really interesting how he finishes around big guys. He's got a great knack for it, but he's just got that ability, that slide jump, which is just hard to deal with. Yeah. And he shoots those little floaters. But he was spectacular. And, boy, I tell you what, if you're Memphis, you got to be excited about going back home for Game 3 because, hey, you walk in the locker room and said they had us down 20. Yeah. We came back, put them in a complete panic, and they had to put all their starters in. And it was Memphis made a hell of a run in that second. And let's not forget Dylan Brooks. He's playing his tail off. Slow-Mo Anderson's got it going. They got a bunch of guys playing well. Valanciunas, he just takes it to Rudy one-on-one Gobert, which is impressive. He puts his shoulder into Rudy's chest and says, come get some of this.
No doubt.
So they are absolutely not afraid of this Utah team.
Yeah. Ja moves differently. The moves at the rim are different, but the approach reminds me a little bit of young Derrick Rose in that he's not relying on the three-point shot. That's not really where his strength is, but, man, he can get to the paint and to the rim seemingly any time he wants. And he did a lot tonight.
It's funny you say that because Rose had the same ability to slide jump where he would take off here and just glide sideways through the air and finish around. So, very similar.
All right, let's get to Taylor Jenkins. His team got the split in Salt Lake City. They'll go back to Memphis, tied up at 1 game apiece with the number 1 seed.
Megan Triplett. Hey, Coach. When you look at this game for the Jazz, now that they've gotten Donovan Mitchell back, what would you say the Jazz kind of gave you guys the most difficulty with as a whole? And what can you say about the fight coming out of that half and that third quarter run that you guys went on?
I think the Jazz played an amazing game tonight. I mean, they were clicking on all cylinders, 19 threes, 54%. I mean, we shot 54% too. So they got off and running early. Really proud of our group in that third quarter to bounce back, cut the lead to, 1 possession game. Then the Jazz, some 50-50 balls, second chance points in that fourth quarter you can't have, down the stretch in a close ball game. But, obviously he adds a lot to their team. Their entire team played great. A lot of guys played well for them. Long series, we're going to bounce back. And the fact that we can compete with these guys and we've beaten these guys is a great takeaway from these 2 games I heard.
Drew Hill.
Taylor, I'm sure Ja will say that he doesn't care because it comes in a loss, but he becomes the franchise's all-time or single-game record holder for points tonight and in the playoffs both. What does that mean?
It's obviously an amazing feat in his early career, but I'll echo he'll talk about he can't wait to come back and get a win.